Today's walk is a little walk just straight out of town from near where I live. One of the great things about living in this little town of Stowmarket is that really within a few minutes you can walk out of town and you're in the countryside. I'm going to do a little circular walk today, which I've just made up, and show you that, you know, just walking out of town, you don't even need to get in the car to go anywhere. So I'm beginning at the junction of Union Road and the top of Chiltern Way on the Chiltern housing estate, just there. We've got the building here that used to be the old workhouse, now Stow Lodge accommodation, and we're going to walk down Union Road. Of course, less than 3 years ago we would already be in the countryside, because this whole field here and the one below it was just left to nature or the farmers, and there is a footpath down there which is currently closed. I think it will kind of come on here somewhere. I think we'll have to put it back for legal reasons, but obviously then you'll only be walking through a housing development, not the countryside. Of course, the other irritating thing about this development here is that 99% of these ancient trees, which are all down this lane, have been taken out. I think they've left about 3 old trees in. Totally unnecessary. You could have just built your houses a little further back. They want me to go on their housing estate footpath, I see by the design. I don't know if the developers think we're stupid, but they put all these little new trees in, which are about 9 foot tall. Well, they're gonna, you know, they're gonna take about 100 years to get to the size of the ones they've taken out. It's totally unnecessary. They could have just left the ancient trees. Anyway, what we do is we walk down Union Road to the junction with Starhouse Lane and pick up a footpath. Looks like more farmland going to houses here. Thing is, at the moment all that field is soaking up rainwater. Once you tarmac it over, you've lost all that drainage, and however many drains you put in, there'll be flooding on the lower road, as we know from past experience. Anyway, let us not depress ourselves with housing developers. Let's press on down to the end of Union Road and find this footpath. So just opposite the end of Union Road, when it meets Starhouse Lane, you'll see there 2 sort of business signs there. But what you may not have seen if you've never walked down here is there is actually a footpath sign there. You can go straight across at the T-junction onto the footpath. So just follow this footpath with its little twists and turns, and it will bring you to a little footpath T-junction with a footpath that goes one way down to the Shepherd and Dog in Onehouse and the other way to Onehouse Church and Onehouse generally. As you saw there, I've turned right onto this footpath, but if you turn left and follow it down, you come to the Shepherd and Dog pub on the lower Onehouse Road. But basically now we just follow this around the edge of this field. So a couple of people have mentioned that there haven't been any videos lately, and that is true. Planned to do a few over Christmas, but just after Christmas Day I got the dreaded doodah, the dreaded lurgy that's affecting the world at the moment. And so I had to isolate for however many days it was, 7 days, 10 days, whatever. During isolation, of course, we had blue skies and dry weather. A little bit chilly, but all good. And that would have been perfect sort of weather for filming, but obviously I was in isolation, so I couldn't go out. I'm just going to interrupt that story because the pathway veers over to the left here, and we need to make sure, if you're following this, going to do the walk, you know where you're going. So basically, when there was good weather between Christmas and New Year, I was in isolation and came out of isolation, and of course it started raining every day and it was all grey. I mean, it's fairly grey today. We did a walk on Sunday with the family, and it's a walk I wanted to video, but because the family came, I just wanted to be present and not stopping and starting filming. But we had blue skies and everything. So when the weather's a bit better, I'll go and do that, because there's some lovely scenes down by the River Orwell. But today we will carry on. And yes, it's a shame we haven't got blue skies today, but the important thing is to get out and walk. I did say about probably about a year ago now, I think, or more, asked if anyone would be interested in knowing how, or rather why, I set up this YouTube channel. I do keep wondering whether to share the story of why I started this YouTube channel. It's a little bit dark, not sure everyone wants to hear that. So we've got a reasonable time on this walk, and I could probably share a little bit about it as we go along. I mean, it's all a bit dark and it was very depressing at the time, but basically my best friend died, a guy I'd known for about 30 years, and he lived at the other end of the country, but we used to spend a day together every sort of 6 to 8 weeks. Just one of those people that, or one of them friendships where, you know, you just understand each other and there's a lot that doesn't need to be said. And when he passed away, it kind of triggered a load of grief from my past that I hadn't resolved. Some of you may know about, but basically in 1984, my mum and dad were 56, 57 years old, and out of the blue my mum died in February, which nobody was expecting. And a few months later, in October, or on the night of end of October, 1st of November, sometime in that night, my dad passed away from cancer. Between those two deaths, our second child was born, our son, and he was born with congenital heart disease, which meant he needed heart surgery when he was 1 month old. And that heart surgery was only a temporary fix, so we had that in the middle between my mum's death and my dad's death. And then he was in and out of hospital all his short life, and when he was 2, not long before his 3rd birthday, he blacked out, which is what he was one of the signs of his heart problem. Well, he was in Great Ormond Street Hospital having some tests, and they kept him in and did emergency surgery because they really felt he was going to go any time. Unfortunately, the surgery was pioneering, so it wasn't successful and he died on the operating table. And like all good men, I tried to deal with a bit of it at the time, but our lives were changing quite dramatically anyway with my change of job, and a lot of that grief just got buried, and I thought it'd all been resolved, but obviously not. And so a few years back, when my friend Martin died, all this cack from the past came up and totally crushed me. So I started going to see someone just to chat about all these things, and I can recommend seeing a professional counsellor. If you've thought about it but haven't done it, I'd highly recommend it. And one of the things she said is, all I hear is that you run around trying to help other people, and got your charity thing in Africa helping people in Central Africa, and then you run about kind of helping your daughters with stuff they're going through, and obviously trying to be a good husband to my wife, blah blah blah. But she said, you know, what do you do for you? I don't hear you talking about what you do for yourself. It was quite telling, because it took me about 2 to 3 weeks to answer that question. What do you do for yourself? Not very much really. I was just blocking out pain. Incoming military here now. Bear with while this goes over. The joys of living near a military base. Just got out of the earshot of the digger on the building site. Now we have helicopters. So where were we? Oh yeah, what do you do for yourself? So I had to think about that question, and then I thought, actually, when I was younger, when I was in my late teens, I used to make cine films with actual films, none of this digital nonsense we use today. I actually had film that you had to film it and then send it off for processing, all silent film as well, to put your own sound effects on. I just remember that I quite enjoyed that really, and probably would have carried on or made the transition to video as that technology came about. But all this other stuff just you know, overruled, and all the grief took over. Then you're just left struggling to get through life. Now we're going to make another significant turn, so we'll just pause the story there. So I've just turned right, as you saw there. So basically going down the side of this farm. I think this is Onehouse Hall on the map, and we just carry on along the edge of this field till we get to the driveway to Onehouse Church. So yeah, back to the story. Yeah, I thought it might be nice to make films again. I wanted something that was not really anything to do with my job, something that was just for me really, and just find a bit of meaning in the little project of making some films. I wasn't sure what to make little films about, but my wife and I tend to go for a walk most weekends, sometimes a couple of walks on both days. At the weekend we like to sort of travel about in the camper van and mooch around places. So I thought, let's not film anything too heavy. He says, I've just talked about grief trauma, but let's not film anything too heavy, but just film some of the walks we go on and the places we wander and the little places we visit on our travels. So I came up with a simple name of Walks and Wanders. Didn't know what it was going to be, thought I'd just be walking with the family. Then I found it's quite hard to film a walk while you're being with your family, because filming a walk, I know I make it all look seamless on here, but there's a lot of stopping and starting, and so just started going off on walks and history walks. did a bit of history research, and that's kind of how the channel came about. So we're going to now meet up with the track that goes down to Onehouse Church, and here we're turning left onto the track. Just ahead here you'll see through the trees Onehouse Church, which just sits very much on its own. I think it was built for Onehouse Hall. If you look on the old map, it's clearly been a chapel of the old hall, which would have been the focus of life in this area. And it's quite unusual in that it's got a round tower, which used to be taller, but it was falling down, so they had to reduce the height of it a bit. Anyway, we're going to go round the left hand side of Onehouse Church. So as you saw there, I noticed the sign for the Commonwealth War Graves. I've just come in to have a look at that in the churchyard. That's the grave of Sergeant Ward, died in May 1943, so Second World War. Age 19. There's no age, is it? 19, flipping heck. Life hadn't even started. Oh, so many young lives lost. So we'll now retrace our steps to the other side of the church and pick up the footpath as though we turn left when we got here. Now, from the little bit I know about this church, it's very rarely open. We'll have a look. That might tell us. Oh, the outside door's open. How strange. Not open. That's what I usually find. I know it can be risky leaving these isolated churches open, but and I know these smaller congregations, it's difficult to have enough members so that someone comes down and locks it every day. Anyway, there is the church with a round tower. Apparently it was appeared in a film back in the 70s or something, this church, and the tower was taller. Any road up, we came out of the churchyard, so we're coming onto the footpath on the, so we turned left when we came down to it. You'll see the drive going round to the left to Onehouse Hall, I presume. But the footpath just goes down the edge of this field here. That's what we're going to do. When you get to the bottom of the slope, got the church in the background. There's a left turn, a right turn. The right turn kind of goes right and then left and round the field, but But this left turn, I've never actually been down here, but looking at the map I think it goes to the place I was going to go to anyway. So bottom of the slope after you pass the church and turn left, it says private property keep out, but there is a proper footpath that we're allowed to use down the side of that private property. So let's go. So if my map reading skills are correct, we should come out into a woodland that kind of comes onto Stowmarket Golf Course, and then there's a footpath across the golf course. Hopefully we can find it. Sometimes these footpaths are a little bit elusive. As you saw there, straight across the road onto this footpath. This, according to the map, is Fimbra Woods. You like a good woodland, very sort of calming places. Guess the whole island that we live on was mostly a forest like this at one time before we chopped all the trees down. Maybe that's why it's calming. Even in the dead of winter when there's no leaves, still just a great place to come and be and listen to the passing traffic. All the silence if you get a moment. Look at that old tree over there in the field. And when you come to the bottom of the slope, you'll see the 5-bar gate there with a sign that says private keep out, no footpath. So don't go down there, but we swing slightly right and go down this obvious optional footpath here. And shortly you will come onto another footpath, an old sort of track that goes down to the golf course. I'm going to turn left onto here. This will take you across a little bridge onto Stowmarket Golf Course, and we're not trespassing. There is a couple of footpaths across the golf course, not always clearly marked. It's very sort of calming waterway. I suppose this could be the Rattlesden River. Could be wrong about that. Could be, it's roughly in the right place. Anyway, we're going to cross the bridge, and we're going to see if we can find a footpath sign. Otherwise I shall have to resort to my trusty app and hope there's no stray golf balls. Yes, so the thing to remember, I don't think there's anyone playing today. It's winter, late afternoon, but you are kind of crossing greens and fairways. I don't know what the technical golfing terms are. I was speaking at dinner at the golf club a little while back with the Stowmarket Lions, and a couple of them are members, but I said sometimes it's unclear when you do the footpaths on the golf course. You can drift off track. And he just laughed and said, well, actually some of us that are playing golf here as members often drift off course. Now a footpath sign. Now the sign actually points to that green there, which could be a hole or where they put off from. I don't think they want hikers with muddy boots walking across that nice grass, but I can see another, looks like a footpath sign slightly to the left, so follow the string round between the tree and that other next post and we should be all right. According to my little ordnance survey map, I'm slightly out to the left, so I'm veering a bit to the right. The footpath sign is slightly not on where the app says it is. I think I can see another post. Oh no, there's another footpath post there. But you'll see it's just a green, so I don't think many people walk it, so it's not as clear as some footpaths. But I think I see a post over there with a yellow footpath sign on, so I'm going to head for that. I'm now stood right next to the footpath sign I've just passed, but as you can see on the map, I'm slightly to the left, so I don't think it matters too much, but I'm going to keep slightly to the right of where this post is, just so we try and keep as near to the footpath as possible. I mean, obviously it's a golf course, but sometimes feel I could do with being a few more markers, just so that when you come to walk you don't stray off the footpath. The sign says keep to the footpath, but if you can't see it, can't keep to it. I think we're right. Let me just check the map. Technically still slightly to the left of it, so I think we're roughly in the right position. And if you do this bit right, this will bring you out on a lane, the field with the horses in it normally, sort of stables I think. And so now at this point you're really just heading straight for the trees, Obviously if you come in the summer or day when the golf course is busy, don't walk across people's shots or things. You might get hit on the head with a golf ball. Good old Suffolk County Council footpath diversion, and the arrow bit snapped off. There's another footpath here, and there's all these white posts now. So basically now just keep off the main golf course and keep this hedge close to your left. You'll be out of the way and more or less on the golf course, I think. Don't stray in this woodland here, because that's private. And somewhere here, as we follow the edge of the woodland round, we should come on the track that goes down to the stables and the horses. The horses, a bit northern there. I think the horses are over in the far field. So I don't see any giddy-ups today. So as you saw, we turn left out of the golf course. You come down this track, which is private land, but it's a public footpath along the edge here. This will go round past the stables and everything, and eventually you come out onto the footpath by the Rattlesden River again. It's worth noting that there's a little electric fence around these paddocks, and yeah, watch your knees if you go and stroke a horse. What's happened here? Keep over near the fence. Yeah, the track to the property goes round there. I thought it was a footpath, but it's not. Keep towards the fence. Just there's a big hole there. I wonder what it was. And then you'll come to a little bridge across the river, and thus. So for those of you who are following along with the idea that you might do this walk, if you're not familiar with the area, you've got the Rattlesden River here on your left, and you just follow the line of the river. Just keep on this footpath next to it. Losing the light a little bit now. Hope it doesn't go completely dark before we complete the walk. At certain times of the year, especially in the summer, you might find horses in these paddocks. But I've been down here quite a lot, would never trouble you. You normally sort of further at that end. Now you come to a metal gate, which we just passed through there. As the sign says, please shut the gate behind you. You don't want animals from different pens going in the wrong pen. But this is a really nice quiet section of the riverbank. It's a really nice walk. It's great. I think on one of the videos came down here when it was sort of frosty and the mud was frozen and everything, and all the grass and the trees decorated by frost. Very nice. Basically just down this footpath till you come to the road. I found all the horses, all in this field. Don't think you'll be able to see them on this camera, but all up there. 4 or 5 of them together. That's why the other paddocks were empty, I guess. It's very sort of therapeutic having this. It's a gentle babbling of the river here alongside, to just keep my wits about me at the moment here when I'm talking to you. There are some rather big portions of horse manure right on the footpath, and so we've had that nice quiet walk away from the town. I haven't even had to get in the car to come on this walk, just walk from the house, which, as I say, is a great benefit of living in Stowmarket, whichever end of town you live in. Within a few minutes you can be out in the countryside. When you reach the road, you'll see you can't just get straight onto the road. That's what we're trying to do, so you have to go left on the footpath a little bit, and you'll see a 5-bar gate there. We just go through that, then we can come back on ourselves on the road. Yes, we've got 5 horses over there in the field, all with their coats on. Not surprisingly, it's 3 degrees here. We come to the gate and go back on ourselves. It's one of those gates. You need to be a weightlifter because it's dropped onto the ground. I'm just trying to squeeze my sylph-like body through the gap. I'll lift this up to get it back in the hole. That's what she said. There we are. All done. And unfortunately, we sort of hit this little road here at a busy time at the M25. I'm going to walk facing oncoming traffic as we're supposed to. Let's see if anyone's going to knock you over. We come to the little Burford Bridge here over the river. Just be able to get off the road here momentarily. And you'll very quickly come to this junction with a lower road, and if it's the right time of day and you fancy a pint and some nice food, I can recommend the Shepperton Dog. If they're not open, there is a lakeside cafe on the other side of the road. There's nice food in there as well. I'm gonna carry on back towards where we began. And you'll come to this junction with Starhouse Lane. If you go up there, you'll come back to the road where we started and you'll be back in town. I'm going to carry on the Fimber Road here because that's it's just a little bit quicker for me, and it's getting a bit dark. But there you are, a little circular walk out from Stowmarket. Lots of nature, woodland, an old church, a golf course by the river, the horses, the stables. So lots to see on that little walk. And if you got this far, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.